Okay, it's unboxing time, and I've been quite looking forward to this one. I know what this is. This came from Tomtop, purchased with my own funds, so this is not a sponsored review. Oh, this is like Pass the Parcel. Okay. So, what we have here is, keep expecting and be surprised. What we have here is the Elephone A8. Super budget phone. This one cost £40. That's about $50. Now, this is not a premium unboxing experience, as you might have noticed. It's a fairly plain box, but I'm encouraged by that, because actually I don't want them to put any money into the packaging and trying to give me a velvet box and so on. I want every penny of that money to go into what there is of this phone. After all, that's not an awful lot of money to go around, so I want to make sure, I want to feel like they've put all of their costing into the phone. Right, so there's the phone itself. I'm going to set that aside for a moment and we'll see what else we get in the box. So we've got here a micro USB cable, an EU USB adapter, quite a bulky one by the look of it. Let's have that out of the bag and we'll have a look at it. A bit bigger than some of the adapters we've seen for other phones. EU style 2-pin plug. We've got a little instruction quick start guide, and that is it. Let's have a look at the phone now. Okay, it's got a fitted screen protector, which is interesting. Now, I'm not very fond of screen protectors, so I think I'm going to have that off. Oh, that's interesting. The back must be removable, I guess, because that screen protector is stuck down inside the body of the phone. How bizarre. Yeah, I think the whole back must come off because there isn't a SIM tray as such. That's why there's no SIM ejector. Okay, so is there a screen protector fitted here? Well, it's pretty unobtrusive if there is. So let's have a feel of this phone. That's, I think, a metal back there. Yeah, it actually looks and feels quite nice. It's relatively slim. I'd say probably about 8mm. Let's have a look around and look at all the features then. So on the right hand side here we've got power button and volume rocker. On the top we've got a headphone jack and the USB charging port on the top. That's unusual. And then so on the bottom there's just a little microphone hole and nothing on the left hand side. On the back we've got the fingerprint scanner, single LED flash and the camera. And that is it. So I guess the next thing to do, power it up and see what it's like. Okay, it's not powering up. I think what we probably need to do is open this up because there might be a little protector tab or something on the battery because it's not powering up at the moment. So I'm going to go away, read the quick start instructions and then we'll come back. Okay, so the instructions didn't say anything about how to open the phone. They just say how to use it, and that's kind of obvious anyway, really, I think. So getting the back off is just a case of getting in there and this back panel comes off. Now this is not metal. I originally thought this was metal, but this is a kind of metallized finished plastic. So it's a little bit flimsy, but you know, what are we going to expect? We're not going to have premium materials in a phone that costs £40. So the battery here, yeah, has got a little protector tab just right there, which has stopped it obviously discharging in transit. That's quite good. That doesn't look like I ought to pull that off actually, so I'm just going to fold that back under and replace the battery into the phone, and then we'll just, so let's have a look inside while we're here. Okay, so we've got features here which we don't get in other phones. So we've got micro SIM, we've got nano SIM, and we've got SD card. So actually this phone has the capacity to have 2 SIMs and an SD card. Okay, sorry if there's been an abrupt change in the video. I've had to switch to a different camera because the battery ran out. So we've got micro SIM, nano SIM and micro SD. So that's actually an improvement over some of the other phones we've seen. So that is an 1800 milliamp hour battery, not a massive battery, but then this is a phone with modest specs, so hopefully it will compensate. So let's just put that battery back in there, the rear casing back on, and then power on. There we go, Elephone logo. Okay, well, welcome. Let's have a look. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time setting this up, and then we'll see what it's like. So first thing I've noticed, the viewing angle on the LCD, crikey, it's okay from side to side, but up and down there's some pretty serious loss of colour and fidelity when you with only very small angles there. But never mind, when you're looking at it straight on, it's looking okay. So anyway, I'm going to spend a little bit of time setting this up, and we'll have a little play with it and see what it's like. Okay, so even though this is an Android 7 phone, it feels like rather a basic experience, but there we go. The responsiveness of the thing seems reasonably slick. I guess we'll go and have a look at a website or something in a moment. Let's go off to YouTube. And have a look at a video. Okay, I can tell from the screen that I'm looking at here on the camera that the camera is not really doing the colour justice on this phone screen. It's not the best screen I've ever seen. In fact, the viewing angle thing is really quite disturbing. Viewing angle in the vertical axis, where it washes out like that, is pretty poor. Which means actually when you turn the screen this way to look at it and you're watching a video, your eyes are seeing two different things, and that makes it really quite a disturbing effect. Okay, so I've had a little play with this phone. I've installed a few apps on it and I've tried a few things out, and time for our first impressions wrap up. So, bearing in mind this is a budget phone, okay, this cost £40, that's $50. I ought to just frame this here that I'm setting my expectations based on the specification of this phone that's published. So if it fails to meet one of those specifications, I'll be quite disappointed. I won't express any disappointment about features that weren't even advertised. You know, if it's not 1080p, for example, well, I shouldn't be expecting that because it didn't say it was. So with that said, let's talk about the good and bad features of this phone, at least first impressions wise. So on the good side, it actually feels okay. It feels like a decent quality phone. The design is a little bit old school. This removable case and USB on the top and so on, a little bit old school, but there's nothing wrong with that. Removable battery. This removable rear case design, as I say, a little bit old-fashioned, but it works. And it feels like a nice phone in the hand. One thing I have noticed, the fingerprint unlock, really swift. Actually quite impressively swift, faster than I've seen on some phones that were 4 times the price of this. Also, the interface is reasonably swift and slick. I did notice there's a fair bit of lag. Let's just close apps down. There's a bit of lag when you launch an app. That's not as swift as you might see on some other phones, but it's only a quad-core processor, so we need to make allowances for that. So onto the not quite so good things. The audio is probably a little bit tinny, but it's not that bad. I think probably the most significant weak spot of this phone that I've detected so far is this screen. The viewing angle on this screen is really pretty poor actually, and that does spoil your experience when using it in landscape mode like that. Other than that, I haven't detected any significant flaws at the moment. Obviously I'm missing the larger screen of my Maze Alpha, but you know what? I'm going to try it. So yeah, all things considered, for the price, it looks like it's going to be a relatively functional phone. And my first impression is that, you know, if you were on a very tight budget and you still wanted a phone that can do a fair few things, this could be okay. But anyway, you know the deal. I'm going to use this phone for a week as my main phone, and I will post back at the end of that 7-day period to tell you how it's gone. Maybe I'll post in the middle of that period as well with a bit of an interim update of tests on various features. I'll see if I can get out in some daylight and test the camera. So that's all for now. This is the Elephone A8 unboxing and initial impressions. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.